Good morning and welcome to the Shatkin F.I.R.S.T Monday Morning Minute.
Good morning, I'm Dr. David Powers and welcome to this Monday Morning Minute. Today we're going to discuss the Sinus Lift Kit and kind of review how to use the Sinus Lift Kit. What you're going to be doing is you're going to take a look at this kit, and these gold sleeves that go from 8 to 14 correlates to the length of the implant that you're going to be using. The bone expanders here correlate to the diameter of the implant that you're going to be using. And we use them together to actually expand the bone and give you a little bit more length in your bone ridge to enable the implant to go to full length without entering the sinus. So in essence, what we're doing is we're causing the sinus floor to actually bump up and push the membrane up in the sinus cavity to where we can get the implant up in that area and get a little bit more length to the implant without entering the sinus. Basically, the kit, when you get your kit, you'll basically decide what size you're going to use according to the length and diameter of the implant that you're using. Usually this is explained to you on this card when you send your cases in for treatment planning. If you do it on your own, you can give us a call and we can help you through it if you don't understand how it goes. In this case, we're going to talk about using the 2.0 and 2.5 diameter implants and the different lengths. So for example, if you're going to use a 2.5 13 mini dental implant, it's usually in a case where you have about 9 or 10 millimeters of bone, and you want to get a couple more millimeters out of that bone height in order to place your implant without entering the sinus. Now remember, on MDLs, the mini dental implants, the 2.5s, the 2.0s, and 3.0 Milos, their size correlates 2 millimeters less of the threads that are going to be in bone. So if you have a 13 millimeter implant, there's only 11 millimeters of thread that's going to be going to the bone, and that's the length that you need for the implant to engage in the bone. So what we're doing here is we're taking 9 millimeters of bone and we're expanding it up to 11 millimeters without entering the sinus. To go through the procedure of using the Sinus Lift Kit, we start with using the pilot drill. We drill our hole into the bone with the pilot drill to the desired length for the implant that you're using. Usually 60 to 80% of the length of the implant. You're then going to come to the Sinus Lift Kit and you're going to get your contra angle driver. At this time, we'll choose the size of the bone expander that we're going to use to actually do the sinus lift. Now remember, the bone expander correlates to the diameter of the implant that you're using. We're going to be using a 2.5 millimeter implant diameter by 13. So the way we figure out which size to use is on here we'll use the 1.6 millimeter expander for the 2.0 and 2.5s. We then move it up to the 1.8 expander if we use the 3.0. The gold sleeve that goes over the top of the bone expander correlates to the length of the implant you're going to be using. For instance, if you're going to be using a 13 millimeter implant, the 13 millimeter gold sleeve tissue stop is what you're going to want to use for the procedure. You will then take that and place that in the contra angle. You put it on setting 3. You will then drill this slowly into the same pilot hole that you have just made in the patient's mouth and go to the length where this gold stopper touches the tissue. Once that occurs, you then go to your handpiece and you put it in reverse, which is by pushing the forward reverse button, and reverse it out. What this is doing for you is it's not only expanding the bone horizontally, it's also lifting the floor of the sinus up to enable you to engage a couple more millimeters of bone in the length that you're going and keeping you from entering the sinus membrane. Once that's done, you'll place the implant to length to where the ball and square above tissue. If you don't have the aseptical handpiece, you can also do it by hand. We have a hand ratchet inside the kit, and basically what you'll do is you take the hand ratchet and you'll place the bone expander with the sleeve on in there, and you can actually hand wrench this into the pilot hole that you had just made. You then will turn the wrench over to reverse it out. Once that gold sleeve hits the tissue, you want to stop, you'll reverse it out, and you'll take this and you'll reverse it back out. Once you remove that, you can put your implant in to length, and you should have a little bump of the sinus floor to keep you from entering into the sinus. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for joining me on this Monday Morning Minute.
And I'd like to remind everyone, if you haven't tried our monodental implant, either in bendable or non-bendable, you have to try this one-piece implant out. It's absolutely phenomenal. We get a ton of positive feedback from our doctors. It is a great implant to use. If you haven't used it, we have a 2023 summer special. For every 25 models that you buy, we're going to give you 5 free. So if you buy 25, we'll give you 5 free. You buy 50, we give you 10 free. You buy 100, we give you 20 free. So keep that in mind. Great implant. Please try it. If you haven't yet, now's the time. Take advantage of this summer special. And thank you so much for joining us on this Monday Morning Minute. We hope you have a wonderful week placing mini and mono implants, and we look forward to seeing you either in Disney or up in Buffalo for one of our fall courses.